Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to your journey to a better life. Wow, guys, what a ride, right? How do you feel after the previous step? Wasn't it huge? I think that was like so huge. I put so much value into it. I hope you're not overwhelmed and you actually went through that in a very structured manner. Because I've tried so hard to kind of compile all that wisdom in this wonderful, powerful step. We will just lift you up and let you see, basically envision your future. Because what we did during the last step, guys, we have built the design of your life, the life of your dreams. And what is that design is? It's something you imagine, what's going to happen in future. Therefore, you basically envisioned your future. You captured that future. And now we have it as a northern star. You now know what to build. And I hope every one of you is as excited and thrilled as I am right now, because I went through that process. I know what that means. And I hope you went through this video of the last step a couple of times, maybe 3, 4 times, 5 times at least. And I hope you also have finished your homework, because guys, if you have not finished it yet, I strongly suggest you just come back to the previous step and make sure you finish up your homework, because that's gonna be the cornerstone for the next step, this one right here. You remember I told you those steps, they are complementing each other, and you will not be able to get the most out of the current step if you did not go through the proper way through the previous step. Okay, so by now, guys, for those of you who went through that step, who've done their homework, and now you know how your dream life actually look like, first of all, I want to congratulate you. The second of all, I want to remind you what you've learned already and what you've gotten already. Well, last time we have answered such question as, what do we want out of life, in life, right? Another one we answered is, and we created the purpose around our outcomes and results, is why do we want that? We kind of wrap up our outcomes and results in that purpose. And the last but not least, we have figured out how to actually get it, our list. And then we learn and now a lot of other things around it. Plus, of course, we cannot forget the wheel of life. We now know which area of our lives, the core pillars of our life, we have to improve the most in order for our wheel of life be very smooth and we can go very rapidly towards our better life. And all those things, they will really help you out to get to that better life. And I'm so thrilled and excited about that, guys. So yeah, that's a little conclusion, kind of, follow up on the previous step, guys. Now, we are, as I said previously, only halfway through. We have a long way to go, and I wanted to take you on the next step to this journey to a better life. I want you to keep learning these new strategies. I want you to keep adapting those habits and rituals, because as soon as you're gonna build that life, the blueprint of which you have created during the last step, you probably, and of course you will need those new strategies and habits and rituals in order to sustain those results and to go those steps forward to build the life out of that blueprint, out of that design we created last time, right? So that's why today I want to take you on this step, on the next step, which I call the power of math and how to make decisions with a calculator. Making decisions with a calculator. So today, guys, we will be learning of how to make the right decisions most of the times which we're making decisions. And we're going to be learning how to basically eliminate anything which is related to emotions, to the negative state of ours, out of the process of making a decision. So we, with the better and greater probability, would make those important decisions in our life, which, by the way, I want to say, shape the destiny of ours, shape the whole life, those moments of those decisions. So I think and I hope you are thrilled and excited about that topic, and let's just get onto it, right? Okay, decisions. Why are they so important, guys? have you asked yourself this question? Have you ever kind of tried to follow the patterns of how do you actually make your decisions? And how many of those decisions were good and made your life even better? Of how of those decisions were, bad or maybe not that good, wrong decisions you made, and that kind of worsened your life. It kind of made your life a little more miserable. I would not even, I would love even say that word. You see, the decisions are important, and as I said, they as important as the moments of decisions shape our lives. The moments of decision actually shape our destinies. And I'm gonna try to, prove you that. And I know a lot of you guys probably think, well, it's obvious, Igor, decisions are important in general. And some of you are maybe skeptic and say, hey, decisions are not important at all. You see, we all think that on our conscious level, and we understand that, and this is our logic. But guys, I want to make sure we go through some of the things which again will prove us and kind of let our subconscious mind also believe that our decisions and decision-making process play crucial role in our lives, and it shapes our destiny. That's how important it is, because our subconscious, we need our mind to back us up and help us to build out the life of our dreams out of that blueprint we created during the last step, right? So let our subconscious mind again and again know how important decisions are. Well, if you remember that logical chain of events of where do we start and how do we get to the outcomes and results, you probably remember, and I told you, and I mentioned that, by the way, also during the last step, you remember that everything starts with what? Questions. Exactly. Remember we were talking about what's the thinking is. The thinking is the process of you actually asking the questions and answering them. That's all it is. So whenever you think, you're actually asking yourself questions and then you're answering them. And by the way, that course is made in a way we ask ourselves so many different questions, and I help you to answer them. And now you're equipped with a lot of answers. The same happened during the last step. Remember, we asked a lot of questions and then we answered them. What do we do next? Well, naturally, we are the human being. As soon as we know the answer, we make a decision. That's where decision comes into the play. And then as soon as we make decision, what we do? We actually take an action. And then that action shapes and impacts what? Exactly, our outcome and our results. Why do we need those outcome and results? Well, we need them in a way to get to our dream life. If we are here and we built out our dream life design and the blueprint right here, we want to get straight from here to live that beautiful life of our dreams, right? But to get there, we're gonna be doing a lot of different things. We're gonna be acting on something, and we're gonna be making a lot of decisions in between that, starting point and finish point, which are our dream in life. And I want to make sure you're equipped with everything to make sure you make decisions, the right decisions, the most of the times when you make those decisions, because they shape our destiny. They shape this way you go towards your beautiful life. Make sense? That's why those decisions are important. They play a crucial role in this logical chain. And if we're going to pick out some of the steps which I have just mentioned getting from the question to the outcomes and results, you will see that decisions, they directly correlate and they directly impacting the outcomes and results. And those help us actually to fulfill on our mission. Remember, we have created the mission, the statement mission, the statement for every single core pillar of our dream life. Like in the step before previous, I guess, right? It was a mission statement we have defined and we created for every single core pillar of our dream life. And now to fulfill on that mission, we want to go forward and we're going to get those outcomes and results. And on our way, or with us, or against us, will be our decisions. That's why they're important. This is how important they are. Okay, I hope I'm being convincing enough, and you now understand that decision play crucial role in our lives. And by the way, not only big decision play the crucial role. Because you probably think right away, well, yeah, those big decisions I will make or I made really played like the great role in our life. But those small ones we make every single day, they actually impacting quality of our life in the same manner, because they actually accumulate with the time and they compound, like compound interest, right? And they shape our life as well. Just think about it. If today I have decided to eat some junk food, what's gonna happen tomorrow? Well, if I'm not gonna decide to do it tomorrow anymore, and I will decide to do it only once, like a month or two or so, it's all fine. But if I will decide to eat the junk food today, and I will make that decision tomorrow as well, and then I make this decision the day after tomorrow, and on, and I'm going to be doing that, little small decisions every single day, they're going to compound. And where I'm going to end up? I'm going to end up with probably disastrous health, right? My health will be under attack, right? Another example, my relationships. If I will decide today to ignore feelings of my partner, right? My partner's feelings. Well, maybe it's okay for today if I'm going to take care of it tomorrow, but if I'm going to decide to do it tomorrow as well, and I'm going to continue to do it the day after tomorrow, and then I'm going to be doing it every single day, guess where our relationships will end up? Nowhere. They're going to be worsened. They're going to be, the quality of our relationship will decrease just because of our small but wrong, bad decisions which we make every single day. So I would say they equal, the small one and the big ones, those decisions themselves, they kind of equal. Now let's, make a couple of examples to wrap it up, that part of this step of understanding how important our decisions are. And I'm sure you can easily remember so many decisions which you made in your life, which shaped your life for the better, which actually help you to improve your life, right? Like for me, at some point of my life, as I mentioned before and previously during the steps, I have decided to learn. I have decided to actually lose weight. Remember, at some point of my life, I was 225, I think, pound heavy guy. And I just decided to lose that weight. And then I decided to eat healthy. And then I decided to exercise. And then I decided to get myself into relationships, and so on, and so on, and so on. And all those important decisions shaped my life, and they changed my life for the better. The same for you, I think. You can easily just, close your eyes and try to remember all those beautiful decisions which you made up until now, which shaped your life for the better. On the other side, though, I'm sure we can easily, again, remember a lot of different decisions, small and big, which we have made before, which actually decreased quality of our life, which kind of, pulled us back and didn't give us to go forward fast enough. Those decisions can easily destroy us. Like, again, at some point of my life, I decided to eat unhealthy meals and eat it every single day, like 5 times a day. I decided to stop exercising. I decided to stay home and don't work. I decided to stay home and do not start my side hustle. I decided to keep working and not starting my business, and so on and so on and so on. And those decisions made my life miserable. That was miserable life until I started to make those beautiful, big decisions. That's why those moments of breakthroughs, remember we talked about the breakthrough a lot, break through the fear, break through the, anxiety, and all those different moments and feelings of your life. Those breakthrough moments, those are actually moments of the decision you make, which then shape your life, shape your destiny. How great is that? That's how powerful decisions are. What I want to say with that, guys, and if you have the notepads and you put in the notes for yourself, write that down. Each of us, every single day, the whole our life, are only one decision away from our beautiful dream life, which we have created the blueprint for in our previous step. But, there is always a but, right? But, we also one decision away from the miserable life. Imagine we are here right now, and this is our dream life right here, and this is our potential miserable life right there. So we only one decision away, right there, to choose in between which way we want to go. Whether we're going to pursue now that design, that blueprint which we have made and created for ourselves during the last step and go towards our dream life, or by making good decisions and right decisions all the time, most of the time. Or we're not going to follow our decisions at all. We're going to make very quick, not weighted in decisions, and we're going to destroy our life, and we're going to go this miserable way towards our miserable life. Well, I want to help you out, guys, to learn that new method, what I'm going to introduce you to today, for you to make right decisions most of the time. That's why we are here. And by the way, not only that important decisions matters, which you make at the moment to decide whether you want to go towards and build out that life of your dream, or you just want to go with the flow and get to the miserable life. Even if you are on your way to your dream life, you gotta make sure you make those right decisions, because those decisions, every single day we make those decisions and they compound, and you can easily make the wrong decisions even on the way to your dream life, and that will might throw you back on the way to your miserable life. So I want to make sure you can keep yourself on this right track and get the shortcut to the dream life of yours, which you have created for yourself as a blueprint during the last step. That's why today I want to be introducing you to this wonderful method. Before we do that though, let me help you and myself, and do it together, define what is a decision. You probably already know that I'm the guy who tried to kind of dissect everything, to break everything down into the pieces, because after that it's a lot, easier to kind of digest it, to absorb it and work with that. So I'm going to do the same here with the decision. We have to understand what decision actually is in order for us to understand how this method of making right decisions most of the time works. So what is the decision? Well, I love this definition of decision, which you can find in Wikipedia. And it's not necessarily the only source of true information, but I think here they are right on the money. So what is the decision? A decision is a conclusion made after consideration. Just think about it. What does it say? A decision is a conclusion made after certain considerations. What does it say? It says, guys, that decision is the process where you use your intelligence and you come up with the conclusion by taking into account several or certain considerations. In short, it's a process. It's a process we all have to go and must go through in order, in the end of the process, to come up with the best ever decisions we've made in our lives. You see? But sometimes now, take a look at us. What do we do during the day? We're so busy and so, trying to catch up with our daily routines. We kind of make those decisions very quickly. We are in a hurry, okay? We can and should make quick decisions at some point of our life. 100%, I'm not arguing with that, guys. I am just saying, aren't we in a place where we make too many of those important decisions too quickly, and we do not take in consideration any things into account, and we just dive into the presumptions, and we just make these decisions. And yet sometimes, obviously, we might be right as a result. But do you want to take this risk all the time of actually taking this risk 50-50, whether you're going to be right or wrong? Well, I want to teach you today and train you today to be on the side of probability 90-95% that taking that decision is going to be the right decision, not the wrong one. How does that sound? I hope it sounds great. So, what do we have? We have a decision, let's say, to make. What do we make decisions about usually? Well, about some of the choices we have, right? So we have some of the choices. Now, how do we make the decision? Well, if we follow the definition of a decision, we have to come up with the different considerations, I call them pros and cons, for every single choice we have. Let's see, if we're going to choose this, what good gonna happen, or maybe what bad gonna happen. In other words, benefits and drawbacks, pros and cons. We take another choice, we do the same. We take another choice, we do the same. And then we have a lot of different considerations about each of them, and now we have to use them, we must use them in order for us to conclude and make that final decision, this final choice, right? Now, you probably understand that it might be a pretty complex process of coming up with these considerations, of understanding your choices, and then understanding which of those considerations actually most impactful and kind of brings most value, whether positive or negative, in the process of making that decision, right? And it all kind of looks and sounds complicated. No, guys, I got you covered. Don't you worry. That's where this method comes into the place. You see, this method has to do with the process of quantification of all those choices we have and consideration we have put together into something tangible we can then make decision around. How great is that, right? Into something tangible through the quantification. You see, we want to take out of the equation something which not 100% truth, because we don't want to kind of rely on something which is not true while making very important decisions in our life. Make sense? So we gotta choose something where we can rely on and which will help us to quantify things, to compare things, and then obviously to help us to make this decision and take out of the equation the things which are false. What might it be? I want to ask you this question. And by the way, the clue obviously is in the title of this step. You guessed it. It's mathematics. Guys, the power of math and making decisions with a calculator. What I want to teach you today and offer you today, one of the ways how you can make calculated decisions with the calculator, by actually involving math into the process of making a decision. Because math will actually help us to take the pieces which are not 100% true out of the equation, out of the process of making a decision. And I'm going to teach you and show you in practical exercise how to do that, right? Before I do that, I want to kind of sell you a math a little bit, because some of you might be confused and maybe a little bit skeptical about math, and you think it's going to be so complicated now we have to learn math or algebra or something. No, it's going to be very easy math, guys, like +5 + 2 = 7. That's it. That's as hard as it's gonna go, but that's gonna help us a lot to actually make those decisions, calculated decisions. Before we go further, and I'm gonna explain you the concept of making those calculated decisions, let me sell you on math. Just think about it. How many billionaires are out there right now in the world at the moment? Do you know the count? Well, I think it's a little bit more than 2,600 billionaires in the world. And by the way, 55%, so around like 1,300 roughly, are self-made billionaires. And you're probably thinking like, why is Igor now all of a sudden started to talk about the billionaires? Well, because majority of those self-made billionaires, guys, are investors. Those are the guys who are investing in companies, in assets, in all different kind of types of assets, right? And guess what? They are the ones who make most calculated decisions, and they calculate the risks all the time. All of us around them, we think they are the riskier guys in the world, right? But they think of themselves, and that is truly so. This is objective opinion of them about themselves. They think they actually take the least risks as possible in the world. And you know why? Because they take calculated risks. They calculate things. They use formulas. In other words, they use math. And look where math has actually put them. They put them on the global stage of being one of the, few billionaires in the world. So that's, hopefully that shows you how important and powerful math is. And by the way, by learning this method today, we will be basically adopting this investor's mentality. We're going to become investors into our own life. We're going to invest this time of making a decision, calculated decision, by going through the process, by figuring out the considerations, by quantifying them, and then use those quantifications like tangible numbers to make the final decision, to make the decision around that. Are you sold now? Hopefully you are. And as I said, it's not going to be complicated. I'm going to give you a really quick example, and then I'm going to switch the screen and I'm going to show you how it's done on the example of my template, which you already all have in your membership area, okay? Okay, let's take this example. So let's say you have $15,000, right? 1-5, $15,000. And let's say, this is hypothetically, guys. Obviously, you can use a lot of different examples. I think that one is going to be very understandable to you. And I'm going to simplify it a lot, and then we're going to make things a little bit more complicated during the practical exercise. So, imagine you have those $15,000. Now, you have two choices. One choice is to spend them on this series of seminars where you might, acquire a lot of different skills which then might help you to succeed in life, right? This is one choice you have, where to invest this money. Another choice you have is to buy the car. So you wanted to buy the car, and this is another choice. You want and can buy the car for this kind of money, right? Okay, so you have those two choices. Now, if we're going to now quantify those decisions and try to make a decision based on a mathematical kind of very simple equations, what we do is we have to come up with the considerations first, right? Like, what are the considerations for one or another? And again, for simplicity's sake, I'm going to come up with only one consideration for each. So let's say consideration for actually going through this seminar and buying this series of seminars for $15,000. One of my consideration is as follows. Well, if I'm going to do that, actually that is one of the most important investments I can make, because I invest into myself, right? Yes. And I know myself. I know I'm going to use that knowledge to go and execute and actually, act upon that. And if I execute and act, I will probably get those outcomes and results. So that $15,000 will be probably invested very, I'll be very smart to invest in those seminars. Okay. So that is my consideration for this particular case, right? My other consideration for buying the car might be, hey, I love that feeling of buying something new. I love that feeling of actually someone looking at me and kind of being a little jealous. And I like this pride kind of in me. And I love that. That's why I want to buy that car, right? So that is the consideration which I have on the other side. And obviously we might list a lot of different things to consider within these choices. But as I said, for the simplicity's sake, let's just take two of them. Now, let's quantify them. How do we do that? Well, we should assign a value first. Like, how do you value that consideration? How much of the importance that value brings into your decision, in other words? And you do it basically by assigning the number from 1 to 10. So how much do you value that consideration on a scale from 1 to 10? And in case of the seminars, how important for you to actually invest in yourself and then multiply that investment by actually using that knowledge and act on your life and create your dream life. And it's super important for you, and the value is 10 for you. Okay, beautiful. Next, remember what we told? We have to actually understand the risks. We should be as investors, because what the decision-making process is figuring out the considerations, quantifying them all, while taking in consideration all the possible risks. So what are the odds for that particular value which you have just assigned for that decision? What are the odds for that value to happen, right? Now let's say you think, okay, so well, I'm going to go to those seminars. What if, then I'm going to deliver and I'm not going to get that knowledge what I need to actually succeed in life? Well, there is some risks there, right? Okay, what is the risk? Well, maybe 20%. I'm coming up with the numbers here, but just, bear with me, guys, here. So let's say 20%. Okay, so on the one scale, I have 10 in value, and then I have 20% of risk to actually not getting this value. So I multiply 10 by 80%, 80% left out of those 20 when I destruct 20, right? I get 8. So the weight of that decision and importance of that decision for me right now, it's 8 in a mathematical, expression. It's 8. Number 8. So let's just remember, for me to invest this money into the seminars is worth 8, 8, number of 8. Another decision is to actually buy the car. Well, let's think about it. So I'm going to buy the car, I'm going to have this fun for a couple of days, and I'm going to be all proud of myself, and everyone is going to be jealous around me. I'm going to show off a little bit. How important is that for me? Well, I love that feeling. It's pretty important to me. But is that like something which change my life forever or impact my life so hard? Probably not. Okay, so maybe value of this consideration is 7. Okay, let it be. 7 is the value. It's how valuable that consideration is for me. Now, what are the odds for that consideration to happen? Well, the odds are pretty high, by the way, but at the same time, what? Couple of days, and that's it. And value of the whole thing gonna disappear, but I want a kind of lasting value from the stuff which I'm investing in, right? So I think that's like, I don't know, 30% or so. So, the risk to actually not getting this value for a long time is 70%. So if I just multiply now value of 7 by 30%, 7 by 3, 21, right? It's 7 multiplied by 3, 21, right? So I got 21, but divided by 100, so it's like 2.1. So I just compare right now 8, right, versus 2.1. So for me, it's probably all clear. That decision to invest into my seminars, it's outweighed by the number than decision to invest in my car and buy the car. Okay, I might not been really clear with this math stuff, and again, guys, don't be overwhelmed by that. I'm gonna be switching to my screen to the bigger one right now. I'm gonna guide you through of the actual process with the actual formulas. You will see that. You're probably now thinking, Igor, are you crazy? You think we should go through that process, that torture? But guys, that's not a torture. I want to assure you, to go through that torture and just use the math to actually make those calculated decisions. And my answer is obviously, guys, you should not do it for every single decision in your life. But would it be worth to do it for very impactful and biggest ever decisions which you're about to embark on in your life? I think it would, because just think about it. How much time do we actually spend on those decisions? And by the way, I want to ask you another question. When I started to compare these two examples, like investing into seminars or buying the car, how many of you had your decision ready right away on the snap of your finger? And I bet majority of you, some of you who kind of want to invest in yourself will be like, wow, the choice is obvious, I want to invest in myself. Some of you who really don't understand maybe investing in yourself, does not grasp yet the value of it, but understand the huge value of actually buying the car and having a car, you'll probably right away, well, Igor, the answer is obvious. I don't need to go into consideration. The answer is, I want to buy the car. That's how the mind is working, guys. We kind of make those decisions so quickly. We do not spend time at all. We do not invest time at all in the process of decision. So we just go with our kind of gut feeling. And don't get me wrong, we sometimes have to go with the gut feeling, but do we want to put the huge risk on the table when we actually decide to actually do something very important in our life? I hope not. And by the way, how much time do we use on our work? How much time do we invest at our job, at our workplace? And don't get me wrong again, we have to do that. But compare the time which you invest for your work to the time which you invest in the process of making decisions. How hard is that? I think to invest your time into your work and spending so much time at your work, a lot harder than just spend, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, even half an hour, but to making the life-changing decision for yourself, I think it's worth it. But we're not used to it. We spend more time, on our job, on ourselves. With that, I want to tell you guys, and I want to ask you, please, spend and invest more time on improving yourself. Not on your job, not on your car, but on yourself. And if you gonna go with that mentality, with that mindset, remember we were strengthening mindset throughout the whole first couple of steps in this course. We were strengthening this mindset. Then you will have this mindset, and this mindset will help you to understand and break through your fears, break through your procrastination, and you will understand that you must spend some time on the process of making calculated decisions, because they will take all the things which are false out of the equation. And therefore you're going to be better off on making the right decisions, because you need them, remember, to going from here towards your dream life, not from here to your miserable life. All right? And that is very important. That's why I want you to learn this method. And as I said, I might explain that without any visualization. It's hard for you to now understand this mathematical kind of and quantification process. But again, I want to assure you it's very easy. Let's try it once again, and then let's get to the practical exercise. So that same case, but the different story. Let's take into consideration different things. Let's say for the seminars, you got the same, right? You got yes, I can invest in seminars, or I can buy the car. But in this case, you're thinking, okay, so I'm gonna invest in seminar, and I'm gonna learn something new. But I don't trust that those seminars will help me. I have this, negative belief about, or maybe negative experience. Again, it's just hypothetical, guys. I have this negative experience, and yeah, I don't know. I don't really trust those seminars. So value for me is probably worth, on a scale from 1 to 10, is like 5. All right, you got 5. What are the risks which you're not going to get anything out of it? Well, with that kind of attitude, you're probably going to get 0, right? So you're like, the 100% risks, which I'm not going to get anything out of it. So 100% risks multiplied by the value of 5, altogether, it's 5. So you have 5 on the scale of the decision to actually go and buy seminars. Now, let's take a look at the car. So, what consideration to take? And let's say, in this case right now, you get different consideration. And the consideration is as follows. Let's say the car is something you use for your work. And if you're not going to get the car, you're not going to get work. You're not going to be working. You're not going to be supplying your family and, feeding your family, basically. But in this case, the consideration to buy a car to feed your family, the value of it is 10. It's 100, 1,000. But on the scale of 1 to 10 is 10, right? What is the odds for that value to happen? Well, if I'm going to get the car, I will definitely get a job, and I will be working, and I will be feeding my family. Okay, let's say there is slightly some risk of me not getting their work, maybe 20%. So the odds to actually for that value to happen is 80. So now we should multiply 10 by 80, right? So we got 8. On the scale from 1 to 10 of the weight of our decisions, one decision on the left, which is towards seminars now, weighed 5, and decision to buy a car weighed 8. So you see, now we might probably go with the decision to buy the car. Why? Why is the decision different from the previous situation when we actually went with the seminars? And the difference is in the considerations, you see. We might end up with one or another decision based on the considerations we have, on the quantification of those considerations, and understanding the odds for those values of those quantifications to happen. You get it? So okay, let's conclude and wrap it up really quick and go for the practical exercise. So what we have learned so far is that decisions are crucial and they're important, super important in our life. They basically shape our life and our destiny. To make the right decisions, most of the time we have to take something out of considerations, something which is not 100% true. And we should quantify our choices and our considerations and multiply them by the odds for those choices and considerations to happen, and we have to attach the value for those considerations of how much of the impact they put on our decision. And then we got the results, and we compare the results, and we make the final decision. This is the easy formula of how to make those most valuable and informed decisions, and that way we adopt the investor's mentality. Okay? All right. So for that thing to kind of settle in and for you to be able to make the most important decisions in your life with the calculator, with the help of math, let's get to my screen. I'm going to open up my template and going to guide you through that template and going to go through the examples of how do I actually make the most important decisions in my life. All right? Okay, let me change the screen and I will see you on the other side of that screen. All right, guys, you now should be able to see my screen. And by the way, you also still see me on the right top corner in this little video window. I'm right here and I'm going to be guiding you through of how to actually use this template in order for you to make calculated decisions. I call this template Framework for Calculated Decision. This template consists of all the necessary elements for you to go through that process of quantification of your choices, quantification of all your considerations, of actually adding and understanding the value of each of the considerations, and then calculating the odds for the value to happen in order for your decision to become true. Okay, and I'm gonna guide you through the logistics of this particular template as we go. Not gonna just, name all the elements which you see on the screen, but let's just go through the process, and through the process you will learn the semantics, you will learn the structure of this template, and you will learn what is what. Okay, and first example, what you see here in this kind of green bar here is we have a decision to make in between two choices for just example's sake. Obviously, you then might use the template and put your choices and your decisions on your own in this template. So this particular case, I offer us to take a look at the such options. So we are working somewhere at the moment, and then all of a sudden we get the job offer from the different company. So now we have a decision to make, right? And this decision is whether I should stay with the current employer or I should accept the new job offer and move on and take up on that opportunity, right? I think it's pretty, big decisions to make in your life. Therefore, I think that method of actually including math into the making this decision is very proper to use that. Very useful, I would say, right? So if you remember, as soon as we have decision to make, we should have choices. And we have choices right now. Those choices are here on this green line, right? Stay with current employer or accept new job offer. Next, what you do? Well, we have to list all the considerations for each of the choice, like which will actually, add something to as a benefit or maybe a drawback. Remember, I was talking about some things and some considerations we might come up with might end up positively affecting the decision itself or maybe negatively affecting decision itself. And math will help them to actually, get them under the one roof, and we will understand what decision to make. So that's why for each of the choices, which we have two right now at the moment, I have the list of pros and the list of cons. That's all we gotta do here in this column, right? And that's why I call it pros and cons, right? So here we started to list those considerations we have, for this particular choice. And for this case, I'm going that way. So if I'm going to stay with the current employer, I'll probably keep my current income, right? That is one of the considerations. Another one is I will work with the familiar people, and the people I know and worked with for a long period of time are important to me. I want to, stay in this beautiful, community of together with these guys. Another one is, well, I will probably, have the opportunity to advance and grow. I maybe already might be promised some raise or promised some new occupation or maybe some transfer to different departments, stuff like that. So therefore I think, well, if I stay, I might, continue to grow and actually advance myself and improve my skills and maybe learn some new ones. And then another one is, well, I will stay within industry, right? Let's say apparently that new job offer is offered to work in a different industry. Therefore, that statement here would be true, right? Again, this is just an example, guys. So I will stay within an industry and I will spend minimum time on commuting. Well, I live kind of very close to my working place, current working place, and therefore I want to stay within the community, right? And first of all, and second of all, I want to commute. I want to invest my time into commuting as least as possible, right? So I want to commute very quickly. So that is my kind of considerations, the positive things, what might happen, if I will go with this choice. What are my cons now? Well, nowhere to grow financially. They kind of promise me those expansions and those new roles and maybe new departments and stuff, but they say that I'm gonna get similar salary. Another one is a high stress level. Apparently I have high stress level in this particular place. And then the last but not least, routine work. It's kind of routine work. I know everything, nothing is new, and I go with the flow, right? So these are my considerations. So here, I want to ask you to work as hard as possible and invest as much time as possible to actually describing this choice with your pros and cons, with the good things which might happen and with the bad things which might happen. And you have to consider them all. And the more detailed you are in this step, the better your decision, the more informed decision you will get as a result, and the less riskier decision you will get, because more consideration and more factors you have factored into that decision. Make sense? Like those investors, remember, they want to try to figure it out what this company is all about. They want to try to figure out what's the team is all about, what their plans, what their revenue, are they profitable, and other different factors they put in. They go through the due diligence process. We want to go through the due diligence process on our own for all the decisions which we are about to make. And then we know all those considerations and those, due diligence results, we then can make that decision whether invest in that company or stay in that company in this case, right? I talked a little bit in parallel here about ourselves and about the investors, what the investors do. So that's how you come up with this list. What do you do next? Who remembers? Well, now we have to quantify the value. What is the value? How much are we value each of the considerations? On a scale from 1 to 10, how important are they for us to happen or not happen within this decision if we're gonna go with this choice? So what I do here is I go through every single consideration. I'm trying to figure it out what kind of value it brings in making this decision. So in this case, in particular, I will keep my current income. It's very important to me, but it's not like life and death kind of question. So therefore I put 8, right? From 1 to 10, 8. And I do the same thing from every single consideration. Like I will stay with the industry. It's kind of important to me, but not that much. So I feel like I want to put 6 here. This is kind of value that particular consideration brings to the table when I'm about to decide. Okay? All right. I do the same thing, by the way, for the cons. Like how important they are, how negative they are for me, if you want to say that. For example, nowhere to grow financially. Is that important to me? Well, it's very important to me. It plays a huge role, right? I want to earn more money, right? But again, it's not kind of the, life and death kind of type of question. So I put 8 here. And then high stress levels. It's super important for me. So 8 again. Routine work, right? Super important to me, for me. Maybe, even 9 here. Let's put 9, right? It's super important to me. All right, so we got here right now, right there. Now, what we do next? So we just quantified the value. Remember what is next? What is the odds for that value to happen, right? So now let's think about, again, every single thing. We gotta go for every single consideration. We gotta work kind of separately with every single consideration, not with the whole decision or the whole choice as it is. Okay, so that's what we do. Again, we'll keep current income. What is the probability for this value to happen? What is the probability for me to actually keep current income, at this particular workplace? Well, kind of 100%, but at the same time, I don't know what might happen. I don't know what will happen with this company, right? So I want to incorporate some of the risks. So the odds for this value to happen is 80%. So I put 80 here. It's 80% for that thing to happen. All right? Okay. And then I get to the next one. We'll work with the familiar people. Well, first of all, the value of it is not that valuable to me. It still has some value, but it's not like 8, 9, or 10. It's 6. And what will happen if I will change this job? I mean, or what will these people change, right? Will I work with these familiar people if I stay here? Yes, of course, if I stay, I will keep working with these familiar people. So the odds for that value to happen is 100%. So I just put the 100% here. And that's what I do for every single one of them, including cons. Again, nowhere to grow financially. Will it happen? Yes, I've been told. So the probability of it is 100%. Routine work. Well, yeah, but again, they offered me to grow. They offered me maybe different departments. So I probably might do something different. So it's not 100% that thing gonna happen. So I put 70%. I feel like it's 70%, the probability of that to happen. Okay? And I got it. So what do we do next? Next, the whole thing is happening on its own. You're not supposed to do anything else. The calculations are already there. We have the formulas here. Basically what we do is we multiply the quantification by the risks. What in our case, we multiply the value with the probability for that value to happen. As we use the percentage, we just divide it by 100. As a result, we have the numbers. This is the weight of this pros type of consideration into that decision. This is the weight, the mathematical weight of that cons type of decision of considerations which I've listed here. Guess what we do then? We summarize them all. Like, what is the result? Well, the result for cons for this particular choice is 28.2. What is the cons for that particular choice? It's 22.3. And what is the difference in between them? It's 5.9. So we also take the difference in between the pros and cons, because we gotta incorporate in that decision the cons as well. We gotta think critical and see the negative part of that too. But don't be too negative about it. We just transform it into the numbers. All right? That's it. That's the result of that. What do we do next? Well, next we do the same exercise, but with our other choice, the second one. In this case, accept the new job offer. So what will happen? What kind of good things, pros of that decision, and what are the cons of that decision? Really quickly. Well, here I will make 15% more money. So they offered me better salary. All right. Well, larger and stable company with more, incentives. Important to me maybe, right? But I have to consider it. They have offered it to me. Change of place with a different type of work. Lower stress levels, by the way. And new growing industry with a lot of demand. It's new for me, but it's an industry going to grow and has a lot of demand. So I might succeed in there financially as well, right? It's very good kind of thing. What are the drawbacks? Well, I have to commute more. Commute time increases by 30 minutes for me. Well, okay, I have to consider that. Fewer opportunities to advance and grow. You see, I might get a higher salary, but there are now not enough opportunities to grow. Okay, that is consideration, kind of negative one. And then smaller office space. Their office space is smaller. It's just a fact for now. I'm just listing the consideration. I'm not trying to, make a decisions, guys. Right now, I'm making a decisions about how valuable that consideration is and what are the odds, but not a decision about whether it's already final decision of the overall decision of this choice. What kind of choice should I, make? And then I go through the same exercise. I assign the value. I assign the odds for that value to happen. Let's say here, well, yeah, it's important for me to earn more, right? And they have offered it to me. It's already in my potential agreement, right? Letter of intent. Well, 10 points. Super important to me. Probability for that to happen? Well, 100%. They already offered it to me. All right. Next, larger and stable company with more incentive. Very important to me. They have already offered it to me. All right. So 100%. And so on and so on and so on. The same with the cons, right? Commute time increases by 30%. For me, is that important? But is that 10? No, probably 8. Okay, the probability for that to happen, 100%. They are a lot more far away than my house, right? So that's how you get it. And as a result, you get similar numbers, which kind of show you the weight of every single consideration here and the results of the positive things to happen in order of this choice. and the result of negative things to happen in order for that choice. And then we get the difference, right? And now let's take a look. Now those numbers matter. Before it was just numbers, right? Just interesting numbers to play with. Now, then we are about to compare. That's where those numbers come into the play. So now we compare the results. First of all, the final results here is 5.9. And the final result here is the 25.4. So if we just go straight ahead and believe in this system and go according to that calculated method, we right away know that is the choice we need to make. This one right here, guys, that is the choice we need to make. Now, you see how that choice is being transformed into the math. Look at that. The positive thing of me staying at current work, the value of it in numbers is 28.2. To change my working place and accept that offer, the value of it is 42.4, almost like twice as much as the choice to stay. And these are the positive things which will happen if we compare them, right? The negative things, well, they almost equal. So the drawbacks of staying at current place and the drawbacks of actually accepting the offer are almost the same. We're not losing anything at all. We're only gaining. So according to this formula, according to this method of making a decision with the calculator, you must go with this decision, with this choice to accept an offer. And by the way, of course you might say now, well, what would I do if in some cases I have this gut feeling within me and I know I need to stay, but the formula told me to leave and accept the other offer? What would I do? Well, guys, it's up to you. It's still your decision, right? It's still your decision. If you truly believe your gut feeling and you feel like the math in this case is not your friend, go with your gut feeling. But if you believe that formula, and especially if you already kind of used it up and you've seen the results and you know it works, you're probably going to be better off, going with that decision. But again, see for yourself. This is just another option which gives you another perspective of how do you actually look at the decision itself, and how do you actually look at the choices, and how do you look at the consideration. It actually puts you, this is not the formula as a result, it's the formula as a process. This formula and the template puts you in the process of making a decision. And even if the result of that you will still choose the choice with the lower number, it's okay. Because you are confident now, you went through the process, you spent time, you invested time in that decision, and you still feel and think like you gotta go with that one. At least you're gonna gain confidence, which you did not make very light decision about the very important thing in your life. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of different benefits going through that process, not only to make the final decision, but actually put yourself in a position of going through the process and making proper decision. Because remember, decision is the process of creating the conclusions, making the conclusions based on the considerations. Make sense? All right, so that is it. What I have forward is just, different situations. Like in this case, I showed you an example of how to make a decision if you need to make such a decision between choices of to stay and work for someone else, or go in and becoming the entrepreneur and opening up your new business. You might be in front of a decision like that, right? So you do the same here. You list all the pros of the decision to actually stay and work for someone and all the cons of that. And then what you do is you calculate the value, you assign the value, you assign the odds, and then you figure out what's the weight, right? And what are the results. What you do next? Well, next, what you do is, what are the pros of actually becoming the entrepreneur, of opening up your own business, of starting your side hustle? You list them all here. What are the cons of that? You list them all here. And you do the same procedure. And like in this case, again, I have this, result, minus 8.2. So actually me staying at the current work and working for someone, there are more drawbacks than benefits. Not even comparison with my decision to actually start opening up the new business. And then in lifestyle entrepreneurship, if I have chosen that direction, I see I have so many benefits. I still have a lot of drawbacks, but the whole result is a lot better, right? So probably I'm going to be better off going that direction there, right? But it all depends on considerations, guys. The whole situation can be easily changed, right? By changing the odds if you think they are different, by changing the values if they think they are different, by changing those values, changing those odds, right? And coming up with those considerations. The whole situation might be changed. And maybe here I have very little value, and those drawbacks are not like very important maybe, right? And you see the situation already changing, and here I get the different values. I'm just going through and messing around with the numbers, obviously, right? But I think you're already not gonna feel the difference now, guys. Feel this difference of what is happening. Then I am actually changing the numbers. Look at this now. I've changed the values. I've changed the odds for the values to happen. And look what happened. We have the different situation. I might now look at this one, at this choice, because that choice has greater value now than that one. But they're pretty close. So what should I do in this situation, by the way? Well, again, you might kind of plug it in your gut feeling here. Or maybe if you have the mentor on the side you're working with right now, maybe you can discuss it with your mentor, kind of escalate it if you're now afraid to take this step and make decision on your own. Or you should work on your consideration. You should maybe think of more considerations which you need to take into place, which will then make this final decision be very easy to make if you have those numbers very close to each other. But if you don't have those numbers close to each other, you basically make the decision very easy just based on those numbers. All right? And then the last but not least, let's say you have a decision to make in between a couple of projects. You have been offered as a side hustle to actually participate in one of the projects or in another of the projects. And I give you an example here of what kind of pros and cons you might to consider for both of the choices. I'm not going to go through them right now with you, but I will leave them in this file. You will see them in the template when you're going to get them into your membership area, and you're going to be able to go through them and adjust them or maybe replace them with yours. You should replace them with yours, but if you agree with some of them, you might easily just use them up and see what kind of decisions for yourself you can come up with. That's all we got, guys. That's how this template is work. Let me wrap it up, that part. So what you do is you first, understand what kind of decisions should you make. You then understand what kind of choices do you have. Then you quantify those choices, because this is the number for that choice, right? You quantify it by quantifying considerations first, the positive one, the pros, and then the negative second, the cons. You quantify them, and then you understand what are the odds for that consideration to happen, the odds of value for that consideration to happen. You multiply that, you get the result, and then you compare the result in between the cons and pros, and then you compare the final results, the outcome of this process of evaluating those both choices. I hope you see that none of the high-level math is actually, incorporated here. Very easy numbers and ready-to-go formulas which will, help you out to calculate it all. You just need to put the value from the 1 to 10 and then the odd from 1 to 100. That's it. That's all you need to do. The rest of it is going to be done by this template, and you're going to have results for your own. And that's how you make those calculated decisions. Okay? All right, last but not least, guys, as a bonus with that template, I actually put the decision-making process and the framework of how you can actually get to those choices and get to make this decision, where the process all starts, right? And I don't want to make you confused. If you're getting confused because of that bonus I put for you, just forget about it and work with this worksheet here and just, use it to make the calculated decision. But if you want to dig a little bit deeper and understand the whole process, where a decision actually starts and how do you end up with calculating it like that, let's just take a look really quick. So first question I usually ask myself, if I feel like I need to make a decision, I ask myself, is it my decision to make? You see, decisions, they very energy consuming. Decision process is very energy consuming. So obviously you want to make as right decision as possible and as many of them being right. But at the same time, you want to make as less decisions as possible because they take up a lot of energy. And you want to, contribute your energy for the most important decisions. So therefore, sometimes you have to actually pass the decision-making process on someone else to make sure they make that decisions, because that decision is not yours to make, right? So if my answer is no, it's not my decision to make, I delegate the decision. At workplace, like if you feel like it's not your decision to make, and let's say you're working in IT, right? And now you are deciding what kind of solution to implement, you probably should be asking the business department of the business of your company of how do you make this decision, and they should make this decision whether you have to implement that solution or not, because that solution will impact customers, and this is not your decision to make whether you want or not want to impact customer in the way they're gonna be impacted by you creating that solution, right? So therefore, you should probably delegate the decision to the business, and as soon as they're going to decide and if they're going to go with it, you as a part of the IT department will proceed then with an action, right? So this is how the delegation works. If it is your decision, you go to the step 2. Very simple. What do I do in the step 2? Well, I ask myself the question, what are the choices? Like, what kind of choices do I have? And by the way, in this sheet, you've seen only 2 choices, but that is okay. You can easily make 3 choices. You can make 3 columns like that. I mean, like the set of the columns, 3 sets of the columns like that, 4 sets of the columns like that, and compare 4 decisions. I mean 4 choices. Compare 5 choices if you have so many choices. And for each choice, you gotta go with the pros and cons, you gotta go with the considerations, and you're gonna go with the valuing them, and you're gonna go with the adding them, and then you're gonna go with the multiplying them, and then you're gonna go with the numbers, not 2 numbers, but 4 numbers, as many choices as you have, right? So coming back here, what kind of choices do I have? I list all the choices. That's how I understand how many choices I'm working with. With a 2, with a 3, with a 4, 5, maybe 10. Hopefully you have like from 3 to 5 choices, no more, right? I got my choices. What do? I just list them here and I prepare my template accordingly. If I have 3, I create another set of columns like that on the right in order for me to actually make that 3rd choice as well and evaluate the 3rd choice. And then what I do? And then I evaluate before to make the choice and start the calculating decisions, guys. What I do is I actually ask myself the question, is that decision at all will contribute to my life mission? And if my life mission, let's say, is to help others to live a better life, which is true for me, and I am in front of the decision of which will hurt people, and which will take from them, not give them, not help them out, I might as well not even spend my time on making such a decision even if I have different choices and offers from others. I know for sure, doesn't matter what the mathematics will show me, I do not want to make the decision, I do not want to make that step, I do not want to even consider those choices because it's against my mission. It's against my blueprint. It's not gonna get me closer to my blueprint of my dream life. You know what I'm saying? I hope you do. And if that is, and if that choice is kind of obvious and I don't want to go that way, I don't go that way. If that choice, on the other hand, by the way, I know they're gonna contribute to my mission statement and this is done deal, there is no way I'm not gonna make that decision. I just go in and I just make that decision. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, this is, by the way, example where I do not go and dive into the calculations because I know right now and right away. It is within my mission, I go with it. It is not within my mission, I'm not going with it. So I'm not even going for the calculated decisions. But I might. So it's, again, I have to decide. You have to decide. If that complex decision and I feel like, well, it might be, it might get me towards fulfilling on my mission, or it might be, it might push me, far away from me fulfilling on my mission. But I am getting a little confused because I have so many considerations in my head and I want to put them on the paper. Then I have this feeling, I'm just going to the fourth step. And fourth step is, I gotta start use my calculated decisions. And we have just went through the process of how to do that by working with this worksheet here of making the calculated decisions. And as a result, I get the score and I basically select the choice towards which I want to go based on the highest score. If my gut feeling also is aligned with that score. If advices from my mentors I trust also aligned with that score. I might go against that score if my gut feeling and my mentors advise me otherwise. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's how simple it is. But it's not easy because you gotta go through that process. But to make your dream life, guys, to build out that blueprint we have created during the last step, it's not an easy process. No one promised you easy process. But if you're gonna go through that hardness, you will see the results. But on its own, the whole process and understanding of it, hopefully, it's simple. It's simple as putting a couple of considerations together, evaluating the pros and cons, assigning some numbers, and then comparing some numbers. That's all. All right? Okay, I hope it was useful. I hope the practical exercise helped you a lot. And part of your homework will be actually work with this template. But I will explain you a little bit later on. Let's wrap it up this step. Let's switch my screen where you're gonna see me in full, and let's continue this beautiful step on our journey to a better life. We're working on the better decision, on the best decisions we can make in our life. All right, let me switch my screen. And we are back on the big screen. Hey, how was it? Did you like the practical exercise? I hope I was as clear as it can be. During the theoretical part, I kind of maybe struggled a little bit to explain you this math thing, but now, after going this practical exercise, I think you get it. I think you grasp it, and you see the numbers are very simple, the math is very simple, and if you use that template, which is ready to go, but just, put your decisions, put your choices, put your consideration, the whole math is going to happen on its own, and you're going to see those numbers. And now you have equipped with this beautiful method of actually making calculated decisions. Use the power of math, put it in, wrap it into the decision-making process, and then you're gonna be better off. It's like making decisions with a calculator. And by the way, guys, obviously, there are other different methods and ways how to make the decision. I am not saying that you have to make all of your decisions, all the decisions in your life through that process. I'm just, offering you this method as one of the alternatives. If you have something on your own, that's all good and fine. But try to adapt that kind of method because, as I said, you're going to be adapting the investor's mentality. And we saw with the proof, with the statistics, those investors are the wealthiest people in the world. And I'm not saying it is specifically it's your goal, but just, those investments, it's simple to quantify, it's simple to multiply, and so on, and simple to understand. And those investments, those people do, they actually put a lot of calculations in them. And as you see, those wealthy ones, they made beautiful decisions because they use the method of putting the math into the calculated decision. All right? Okay, I want to wrap it up with some more words and things I want to say about the decision and about the life overall and how do they interact with each other. We already figured out how important they are, right? But now let's take a look. What types of decisions are the most important in our life? And you probably think right away, well, the decision to get into relationships with someone, a decision to have a kid, a decision to actually change the job, a decision to start the business, and so on and so on and so on. And I understand you and I agree with you. But those are all big and custom decisions, decisions specific to us. Today, I want to wrap it up this session with this step with talking about something we all do on daily basis. The little one, the small decisions we do 1,000 times a day. And remember, those decisions, they can compound and they can bring us as a result towards our dream, closer to our dream. Or they can get us to the miserable life because they compound. We do them every single day, the small ones. So let me list 4, in my opinion, an opinion of all those mentors I have learned from, what are the 4 most important decisions each of us has to make right in order to build the life of our dreams. The first decision, guys, and those are little decisions, as I said, we make every single day. The first of them is the decision, what do we put our focus on? And you, by the way, are already familiar with that. Remember we went through that step where we have discussed and went on this journey of understanding what this magic triangle formula is. Remember we had physiology, we had focus, and we had language and meaning. So your decision, what to focus on, will hugely impact your life. Because remember, the focus creates the feeling. The feeling is the emotion. And whatever emotion you create around yourself becomes your reality. Even though actuality can be different. Therefore, wherever you put the focus on becomes your life, become your reality. If you're going to put the focus on the things which are wrong, the ones which will never bring you to the dream life, you're going to lose this battle and you're going to be going towards your miserable life. So you're going to be careful what you put in your focus on every single day. Do you put your focus on how to become healthy? Or you put your focus on how to actually eat junk food, or how to actually satisfy your wish to eat something sweet? Do you focus on how to actually multiply your income, or you put the focus on how to actually spend it as fast as possible? Do you focus on your life, on your health, wealth, love, and happiness, to your core pillars of your life, or you focus on the little things which are happening during the day which does not matter? Do you procrastinate and just sit and scroll down the social media profiles rather than just go and work or start your own business or exercise or whatever else? Whatever you focus on becomes your reality, becomes your life, and it shapes your life as well. So make sure you make this wonderful decision and decide to focus on all the things which will bring you towards those outcomes and results which you want out of life. Okay? The second thing to take in consideration when you actually make decisions every single day is what kind of meaning to create. Remember, whatever meaning we create, we start to feel. Very similar to focus. Meaning creates our feelings, our emotions, and that shapes our emotional state. In that state, we might make those decisions which might be wrong and might get us off that track towards dream life and put us on the track towards miserable life. So we're gonna get ourselves back on the track by putting the right meaning, because we always can find what is wrong, but we also always can find what is right. It's the matter of focus and meaning. So focus on what is right and put the right meaning into your words, into your story you tell yourself and others, and you're going to be able to stay on track towards your dream life. Another important decisions which we make every single day is what to do. But now again, you already know what to do, because you know first you have to answer this question of what do you want? And then you have to put a purpose to it. Why do you want it? And only then you come up with what to do. But that is an important process, but it's also a decision-making process. To decide what to do, first you need to understand what do you want and why do you want it. And that's also a decision-making process we went through during the last step. So that's important. And last but not least, the decision whom to spend your time with is also one of the most crucial decisions you make every single day. Guys, it might sound like a cliche, but we are average out of those 5 people we spend our most time with. That's it. The most time we spend with the 5 people around us, we are average out of them. Health, wealth, love, happiness, fulfillment, you name it. All of that is average of all the people, of 5 people we spend the most time with. So choose whom you spend your time with wisely. And that is your decision. Decide wisely. So these are the 4 things I really wanted you to pay your attention on, because we sometimes get lost in those big decisions related to our career, our health, which is very important, our wealth, love, happiness, and all those things. But sometimes we forget those little ones, which with the days, every single day making them, every single week, every single month, they compound and they can be as impactful, as serious and important as those big ones which pop up in our head right away. But we forget about the little ones. So those little ones, very important ones, the 4 ones which I have just listed, will basically entirely shape the quality of your life when you make them right. Okay? All right. Almost last thing, guys, I promise. When you make decisions, some fun facts, Well, apparently the best time to make decisions, and at least it works for me, and I know works for a lot of people around the world, is to make your decisions, the most important decisions, in the mornings. It has to do with this hormone which our body produces, and it produces the most of it, a lot of it, in the morning, serotonin. And this hormone is basically kind of calms our mind down, and therefore we are more grounded. We are more analytically kind of, turned towards our decisions, and we can make precise and calculated decisions during that period of time. The other good thing to make the decision is when you're actually making this decision in different language. Why? Because speaking different language, not your native language, kind of takes off the table the portion of emotions which you might put into that decision, why you're making this decision in your native language. This is the fun fact. Try to do that. I've tried to do that, and it's really so. I make more calculated decisions, and I actually take into consideration more things to make the decision when I am actually thinking in a language which is not my native. Okay? Next thing. The time to make your choice is when your bladder is full. Like, seriously, this is the fun fact, obviously, but it works. You know what? Then you holding in your pee. I'm sorry, I'm talking about that at all, but it's fun fact. Your body and mind are in the control. They control in the situations. And in that time, in that particular moment, if you're going to make some choices, those choices are going to be well calculated and controlled. That is the fun fact. And last but not least, and I think even more important than all of these combined together, and I already have talked about it in one of our previous steps we took on the journey to a better life. We gotta make decisions when we are in the peak state. Remember, when our physiology is powerful, when we are the heroes, when we focus on the things which are right, not wrong, and we will put the meaning and use the language in a positive way and create this positive emotion and energy. In that state, we're gonna make the best decisions in our life. So therefore, it's very important to put ourselves in that state, but we already know how to do that. We equipped in that, and now we're gonna put it on top of the decision-making process, and we're gonna multiply that knowledge even further. You see how those steps kind of, complement each other? As I promised, they actually kind of boost each other. They accelerate each other. That's why it's important to go one by one going forward, because they're going to accelerate and help you out to actually build this momentum, as I call it. Okay? All right, guys, I want to wrap it up with some philosophy here, with philosophical, quotes of mine and my mentors about the decisions, related to the decisions. And I want to motivate you to love your decisions, to be very careful with the process of making your decisions. And I want to wish you to make the most right decisions out of all the decisions which you are making, which you've ever made in your life, starting now and on forever. Okay? And remember, here it goes. Never, ever leave a scene of making a decision without scheduling a commitment which will guarantee you the outcomes and result you want. Is that powerful? I want to even pause here and let you digest and absorb this information, and I will repeat. Never, ever leave a scene of making a decision without, creating a commitment which will bring you the results and the outcome which you want and wish out of life. In other words, pair your decision with immediate action. Act on it, or act on the commitment. Create the commitment, which will then hold you accountable and will guarantee you the outcomes and results, because it will guarantee you're going to proceed with that decision. You're going to proceed with that outcome and result, with that action which you require to take after making that decision. I will give you an example really quick. Let's say you are on my page and you see this course and you feel like you need that course. You know you need that course. This is the reason why you are here. This is the reason why you were looking at the programs, online programs and courses, to increase the quality of your life in first place, right? Deep side and down, you all know that. And as soon as you got on my page, you go through that page and you're hesitant. You cannot make this decision. You decide you want it, but you do not click on that button, right? Click on that button and purchase in the course, which you already did, because you are here with me, you're looking at me, and you're going for that course. I want to congratulate you for that. Clicking on the button was actually creating that commitment, guys. That's what I'm talking about. You made a decision to buy the course. You made a decision to improve your life. You make a decision to make a change. But you not only did that, you also committed by buying the course, purchasing the course. That will help you to hold you accountable. And probably you're going for the course now because you're thinking, wow, I just spent my money, I invested my money, I want my investment back, multiplied. I wanted more. And to get back, I have to go for that course. So that's why that commitment is very important. So never, never, ever leave the scene of decision without creating the commitment, which will then bring you and hold you accountable to get to the outcomes and results which you want out of life. Okay? And last but not least, guys, we are here in this course to make a change, right? Change our life for the better. Change ourselves for the better. Change ourselves for the better, because we need to become someone who deserves to get all those things, and become someone who deserves to become that one to be able to achieve all those outcomes and results which we want. But the change is not about can you. We all can. The change is about will you. That's it's all about. Just think about it. We can start exercise, but will we? You can easily start eating healthier, but will you? You can start your side hustle, but will you? You can start your own business, but will you? You can improve and fix your relationships, but will you? You can continue this course, but will you? You can finish this up, but will you? You can go through that homework and finish it up, but will you? I think you get the spirit, guys. But will you? What is it all about? About the decision. Will you decide to do that? Guys, please decide. Decide. Because can you? Yes, you can. It's a given. But will you? It's a decision. That's why decision plays crucial role in our life. And that's why I'm so pumped up and passionate about this particular step, because I cannot say enough how important decisions are in our life. All right, let's wrap it up and then get to our homework. What did we learn today? Well, we learned that decisions, first of all, very easy. They are very important. Second of all, the decisions actually shape our destiny. Moments of decisions shape our destiny, shape our life. And what we want to do is we want to make as many right decisions as we can, because that directly impacts our outcomes and results. Let us to fulfill on our mission in life or fail our mission in life. Let us to get on right track towards our dream life, which we have created the blueprint and design for during our previous step, or lead us on the track towards miserable life. In order to take out of the equation something which is not 100% true and make sure it's not impacting negatively our decisions, we want to implement and involve the math, the only thing which is always right and not changing over the time. We want to involve that, and we want to make calculated decisions where we can actually, see our choices, understand our choices, quantify them, then understand what are the considerations we should take into account to choosing between our, choices, and we quantify them as well. We understand the value of them, and then we calculate the odds for that value to happen. And as a result, we have something tangible we can make our decision around. And that's how we use math in decision-making process. We also learned that there are 4 very important decisions we make every single day, which can literally change our life for the better or for the worse. And those are what kind of meaning we create, what kind of focus and where we put our focus on, what to do and what we decide to do and how to do that. And the last but not least, we are deciding of what kind of people to surround ourselves with. Okay, and then we learned when should we make powerful decisions. And last but not least, we learned one of the most important, maybe the key thing in the whole step of the, learning the math a little bit and putting decisions into the calculated kind of manner. We learned that decision should be paired with the commitment. We have to create the commitment right away as soon as we made this decision, because they're going to hold us accountable and we're going to be better off, and the probability of us to actually execute based on that wonderful decision we just made is a lot bigger and higher. Okay? All right. I hope it was useful. I really wish you're going to start making a lot better decisions, and it will shape your life, shape your destiny, and will change it for the better. Now, let's get to the homework. What kind of homework I want to give you? Okay, first of all, try to look back into your past and try to remember what were 2 very important decisions which you made in your life, which basically improved your life big time, which improved your life for the better. Okay? Write them down. Now, think, how did you feel? What kind of environment were you in while taking these decisions? What was the process of making those decisions? Maybe someone helped you. What kind of emotional state you were in while taking this decision? Then do the same thing, but with the opposite decisions. When you make write down 2 decisions which you made and they kind of led to your life quality to decrease. They were bad decisions. Be honest with yourself. Write them down and now answer those same questions. What was the environment around? What were your thoughts? What kind of emotional state were you in? And so on and so on. Try to describe as detailed as possible. Why do we need that? Well, that's because you have right now the pattern you use to actually make right or wrong decisions. So when you put them and describe them in the way I have just suggested, you actually figure out what is your pattern of making right decisions and what is your pattern to make the wrong decisions. So from now on, don't do those things. Don't put yourself in a negative state. Don't put yourself in an environment you've been in. Don't put yourself with the people around, surround yourself with the people which you were around when you made wrong decisions. And do everything else which you used and were in an environment while you were making those big, good and beautiful and right decisions which shaped your life for the better. Okay? And that's how you'll figure out what is your pattern and what kind of pattern to use further on to actually even reinforce the calculated decisions on their own. All right? Okay, the next one. What is the next 2 big decisions in your life which you're about to make, or you already were thinking in your head and you were going to make, but you didn't know or you were fearful to make? Put them on a list, describe them, and go through that process of including math in making those decisions. Including math and deciding with the calculator. And see what calculator will show you. See those numbers, compare those numbers with each other, and align them with your gut feeling, align them with the considerations, and see what should you choose, what you will be benefit from the most, and which will lead you and let you stay on the track towards your dream life, which you are building up by using these beautiful strategies and adopting those beautiful habits and rituals. Okay? All right, guys, I hope you like that step. Again, we are one step further towards your better life. We're going to take a lot more further, and I'm going to be preparing to you, I've already prepared to you beautiful things forward. But now, put your focus, remember, decide to put your focus on that particular step. Focus on your homework. Put the beautiful meaning into that homework for you to be motivated enough. And you know what to do now. You have to do your homework. And by the way, surround yourself with people who will help you to make this homework possible, and you will be better off. Decide to finish up that homework. Decide to learn how to make the right decisions most of the time, and your life will change forever. You see how pumped up I am about that topic? Yes, I am, and that energy is gonna be, going forward for me, for you, for everyone else. So I'm gonna see you on the next step. Meanwhile, take care of your homework, finish up your homework, and I will see you on the next step. Thank you so much.